Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's talk about breakups. So you got dumped. It's never fun. What do? How do you move on? How do you get over it? How do you get over rejection? You know, it's hard for people who are weak. And I can only talk about this in perspective of my own life. I've been dumped, and when I was a weak person, oh, it was hard. You know, one of the reasons is because in some ways I was really only half of a man. There's so many of those types of people out there, half a man, half men. These are the type of guys that need somebody else in order to complete them. They're incomplete without their significant other. They have their better half. When you're like that, when you're so weak that you need somebody else to complete you, to help you function, to help you stay calm, to help you, to coochie-coo you and to pat you on the head when you've had a bad day, to help you dress yourself, help you buy your clothes, help you feed yourself, help you. You can't do anything. You're like a child. And your old lady, your woman, takes care of you like she's your mother. I mean, this type of relationship is so common. You may be in one, or you may know somebody who's like that. I know lots of guys like that. I've been like that. And when you're only half a man, and when you're looking for someone else to complete you, it can feel so beautiful when you finally find someone. You can idolize them, feel like, and as long as they do what you want them to do and take care of you in the way that you want to be taken care of, like a demanding baby, you can feel like that you're in this relationship with the perfect person. Such a toxic word. Such a standard to put on somebody, a curse to put on somebody, call them perfect. To think that there is such a thing as a perfect person. It's a childish, naive notion. It's a fantasy. I know what that's like. I'll get to that a little bit later, but it's not reality. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has flaws. Every single person has flaws. But we don't see clearly. Very often we mistake neediness and a sense of incompleteness, not feeling whole. We mistake that for love. People who are more self-sufficient, that are more able to take care of themselves, that are more disciplined with their productivity, that are more in a strong regiment of mind, body, and soul, strengthening themselves all the time in all areas. They get over breakups, they get over being dumped a lot quicker than a weak person does, than a half man does. You know why the half man gets so hurt the way like I did when I got dumped, is because you cling on to somebody else and they complete you. Two people become one person. And then when that breakup happens, literally you feel like you're torn apart, like your arm is torn off your body. I mean, it just hurts. You feel lost. You feel incomplete. You don't even know what to do. You can't even feed yourself. Can't even get dressed. I know guys that have gone homeless off of being broken up with, that they've killed themselves off of being broken up with, off of a rejection. It boils down to just being weak. You got to work on yourself. You got to become stronger and build those coping skills. So when the storms come, you can handle it no matter what it is. Whether it's a rejection from a loved one, a loss of a friendship, or someone that dies. But we go through these types of people leaving us for various reasons, against our will, against what we would have planned, what we thought was going to happen. It throws a loop in our routine. The shit's going to happen. And you want to be able to be strong enough to survive that kind of stuff. And it just comes from that inner strength, self-love. This is where a self-love program is so important. And it's not just a spa day when you're feeling gloomy, like you see chicks doing on soap operas or something. I mean, you have to be involved in a disciplined, regimented program of daily self-love, and that builds up like pennies in a piggy bank. I know a woman right now, I really respect her, and she's just got so much going on in her life that I find interesting. I've known her for many, many, many years, longtime friend, and she lives up in Georgia, and she's going through a breakup right now with her husband. I'm not going to put her whole life on blast with the details, but she's handling it amazingly well. I was shocked. I really thought that, I guess I thought she was weaker than that, but it turns out she's one strong chick. And she's not a robot. It hurts. I'm not there to see if she's going through a crying time, but I know from keeping in touch with her that she's moving forward with her life. And she's not handling this in a weak way. She's staying productive, staying on top of her diet, staying on top of her working out, staying on top of her mental fitness, on her creative hobbies, on her goals in life, on her on projects, and, still showing up to work on time. Everything is still going forward. So the more time that has happened, it's been several weeks now since her and her husband have broken up, she's moved forward in her life in amazing ways. That's the proper way. That's a great model of how to act in a breakup. I could have made this video just 30 seconds and say, you know what? How do you get over a breakup? Just man up and you get over it. Stop being such a wimp. But you want to do the topic justice. And, I got some advice one time when I was reminiscing on an ex-girlfriend. It was actually an ex-fiance. I'd asked her to marry me, gave her a big diamond ring. She had cheated on me, broke up with me. You think I would have broken up with her when I found out that she cheated on me, but I was just so stuck on her. I forgave her. I just had no sense of self-worth. And then when she finally just ripped me off like I was a limb, just tore off her. I was so attached and clingy to this chick. And I was left there on the side of the road, half of a person. I dove into drug and alcohol addiction. Started spending my money in crazy ways and ended up going homeless. I handled the whole thing entirely the wrong way. And during that time, I had put her on such a pedestal because I would sit and long and think about my ex and what I did wrong. And maybe I wasn't perfect. But in the process of looking back on that relationship, I had come up with a false memory, a fantasy of who she really was. It wasn't the person that I had thought about in my head when I would think about my ex. It wasn't who she really was in real life. A buddy of mine had to point that out to me, and he knows my ex, and we were talking one day about that relationship, and some of the things that I had said didn't ring true, and he had to call me out on it, and that's what a good friend does. It tells you the truth. And he was just like, man, I know her, and I knew her before you met her, and let me tell you. And he, set me straight, and it really kind of reminded me, and this happened a while ago, but it reminded me of who the person really was. It kind of took that veil off of her. I had created such a fantasy princess character, and it turns out she was a deeply flawed person. I may have, since I was so lonely and weak, such a half man looking to cling on to somebody so they could validate me, may have missed some of the red flags. But looking back, hindsight was 20/20. My buddy helped open my eyes with some truth. And I was able to realize that Sure enough, I had tricked myself. I was fooling myself. There's nobody that's perfect. I thought she was perfect. There's nobody that's perfect. She's not a Disney princess. I kind of had that fantasy in my head that she was like Snow White or some shit. It's not true. She was more like Nancy from Sid and Nancy. I made her out to be some sort of queen. I looked back on the relationship in a fantastic, romanticized way, longing for this wonderful relationship that really didn't exist. My buddy had to correct me. This is why you always want to tell your friends the truth, because it'll help open your friends' eyes. And he had to correct me and tell me, no, Sky, no. You act like it was just so wonderful, and like one day she just cheated on you and dumped you and broke up with you and all this bad shit started happening, betrayed you all in one day. You guys were on a slow decline. You were complaining about, you don't remember, but you were complaining about her a year before you broke up. You were talking about dumping her. I had forgot all this stuff. Because this fantasy, this romantic movie that I turned the relationship into, took over. So the only reason why I'm running on about this is because we do this. This is something that we do as people. It's natural. And it's good to catch yourself when you're going through a breakup, to catch that. And to remember that the person that just dumped you is not perfect. That's no princess. I could have made this video 30 seconds. Get over that shit. Thanks for watching.